Hello everyone and welcome to Drive Steady. Today's upload is going to be a random thought video, and that thought is if the Alfa Romeo 4C Spider is going to be a classic in the future. So just randomly thinking about cars the other day, I happened to think of the Alfa Romeo 4C and what happened to it. It seems like it's kind of disappeared, but basically the Alfa Romeo 4C is the return of Alfa Romeo to the United States and the return of Alfa Romeo sports cars to the United States. So some details about the Alfa Romeo 4C is that it debuted in 2014 and it's kind of gone through some iterations, and the 2019 version has a base price of $66,900, which I don't know, I'm not sure if that's competitively priced, because you can get a Porsche Boxster for $59,000. You can get a Corvette Grand Sport for that much. You can get a base Stingray for less than that. But just moving along, it comes with an inline 4-cylinder that pumps out 237 horsepower and 258 pounds-feet of torque. And you would scoff at those numbers, but when you made it to a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission and the car's weight is less than 2,500 pounds, which is feathery light, you get a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds. I mean, this is not a slow car by any means. And for $66,000, call it $67,000, you would think that this is a bargain buy, that these would be selling like hotcakes. But I'm not sure that's the case. Just rounding out some of the specs, because the car is so light, it gets good gas mileage, 24 city and 34 highway, although nobody really cares about gas mileage when you buy these cars. But because you're so lightweight and it's only a 4-cylinder, you're going to get good gas mileage compared to other sports cars like the Boxster or the Corvette. And of course, we know that the 4C is a 2-seater, does not have back seats. And in the 2019 model, it looks like it only comes in a Spider or a convertible version. There are no hardtop coupes anymore. Alfa Romeo did confirm that they are going to make the 2020 model, but there are also rumors out there that Alfa Romeo is just going to stop making cars in the United States. It just seems like they haven't had the success that they thought they were going to have, even though they have some pretty competitive cars, but it doesn't seem like it's shaken out. So we shall see what happens with Alfa Romeo. I was able to dig up some of the sales figures regarding the 4C since its existence, and you can see here that these numbers are really low on a yearly basis, and it looks like it totals out to less than 2,000 cars sold in the United States, and that's really low when you look at it from a 5-6 year run perspective, and they're going to build another year next year. I mean, this is a pretty limited car when you consider that it was supposed to be a mass-produced car. They wanted to build over 1,000 per year and cap it off at 3,500. I mean, they were clearly anticipating that this was going to be a hit, but it doesn't seem like it pans out. I mean, the car is not a bad car. Listen to the exhaust. It sounds pretty good for a little 4-cylinder. I mean, that does sound pretty good. And who knows, maybe one of the reasons why it failed is because they didn't put a manual transmission in it. Imagine if the 4C had a manual, how much cooler it would be, how much funner it would be. It would appeal to more of an enthusiast and a driver market. I mean, the Boxster comes with a manual, the Corvette comes in a manual, the Miata comes in a manual, and this has all the ingredients for a driver's car. It's lightweight, it has a punchy engine, it's small, it's low to the ground. So why they didn't put a manual in it is just totally beside me. Maybe they should have made it look like this. This is an updated design from a company called Up Design in Italy, which added a wide body to the 4C, and I think this looks unbelievably good. This looks like a true supercar. It kind of looks like a combination of a Miata and a Ferrari and the 4C just squashed together, and it looks great. It's such a classic looking design. But hey, it is what it is. I don't think this really made it that far. I believe they only made one or two of them, and that was pretty much it. So now to answer the magic question, is the 4C going to be a classic? In our opinion, absolutely yes. And the reason for that is, number one, it has a classic design. I mean, it's low to the ground, it's small, it's traditional in the sense of Alfa Romeo design characteristics with the triangle up front and the big scoops in the back, rear engine. It's got all the qualities of a timeless design. Second, brand heritage. The name Alfa Romeo is synonymous with racing, with sports cars, with cars from a while ago that are great drivers' cars, good designs, exotic colors, cool looking things. And this 4C was kind of supposed to bring that all back. And it did, but I feel like it just didn't hit the mark. It was generationally not relatable. And cars that are usually neglected like that, there's a small niche audience that it did appeal to that cling to this car. And because it was kind of expensive, I feel like there's going to be some people maybe 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, there are going to be some buyers that are going to be looking for this type of car that they weren't able to afford today in 2019. So this brand heritage is definitely there. Alfa Romeo still has a big following, even though this 4C wasn't as successful as they thought it would be. And lastly, probably most importantly and pretty common for all cars that become classics, is that it is rare. It did have a limited production, or at least thus far it's had a limited production. 2,000 cars is nothing. I mean, you would like it to be less than 1,000, but nowadays 2,000 cars is relatable to, in my opinion, to maybe something with 500 cars or less back in the 60s or 70s. I think this has all the right characteristics for a classic car. These three things constitute typically to a classic car in the future, and then the rest of it has to do economics and what the car market is going to be 20-30 years from now. Maybe these gasoline powered cars are restricted, but who knows, we're just making predictions here. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a line in the comments on if you think the 4C is going to be a classic or not. That brings us to the conclusion of this video. Till next time, drive steady.